Hello, welcome back to Brit Reviews It All. So today I'm going to be talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 14, episode 4. So this one is titled Big Apple Squabble. We know that this is pretty much the episode where the group they are going to New York for Candy's um, play that she's promoting and that she's a part of. So that is the whole point of this episode. So they start off with Marlo. She's outside looking, and you see a home. You see all of that. So pretty much we can pretty much put two and two together. She is in the process of building her dream home. This is great progress for Marlo. Would look just excited to see what she's gonna do with this as far as like recording and the whole entire process. What drama is gonna come along with that? We know it's gonna be some drama. She already threw some digs in there towards Sheree and Kenya, and she knew what she was doing by even asking the two of them to come out. But this builder, he knew his stuff. He knew exactly what he was talking about. We can pretty much see that Marla is going to be a lot to handle as far as putting this house together. So for her to make the decision to basically have it built to where her bedroom is smaller than her closet, that says a lot. But I mean, look at who we're talking about. She calls herself the fashion queen or the guru. They showed us a clip of what her layout is for her house, and basically she has a whole floor to it's her floor, but she does include space for her nephews, which is beautiful. You know, she's really taking that role in their lives very serious. But this girl has 3 closets on her own floor. I mean, only Marlo. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But so moving on, they kind of start touching on why she chose a certain area that she did. Saying, oh, you know, Marlo, we thought you were a buckhead girl, you know. But Marlo's pretty much like, okay, y'all like to throw around the fact that I have all this money and all of this money, and I'm talking about money, money, money. And she said, now we, you know, getting a little insight on what her funds is looking like. But that's probably because she's running a business. She's putting a lot of money into that. So she's trying to be a little bit more smart about how she's spending her money and just understanding what her limitations are. But she's pretty basically saying, okay, so the Buckhead, I don't make Buckhead money to be building no house in Buckhead. That's, you know, so y'all want to put that narrative on me. That's y'all. Kenya's quick with the comeback, and you get a little spit spat between them two. It's like, I like where they are, but it kind of makes me cringe when we see them kind of going back and forth with each other, because I don't want to see them go back down the road that they did before. It was kind of it was like done and done. Like, okay, y'all, can we do something else with this between y'all two? So I don't want to see them go back in that direction. So now they start talking about the whole New York thing. Tyrone is supposedly wants to meet the group. So he's asking for permission to be able to participate in that, to go to New York for those purposes. I ain't gonna go jump too far ahead, but we're gonna see what happens with that. Then they bring up Drew and how aggressive she was towards Sheree, and pretty much how she's deflecting that same energy that you put into towards Sheree for saying whatever about, you know, the rumors or, you know, whatever is being said about your husband. You need to be directing that to your assistant. As we saw, the assistant is still on probation. It's still all in their house working for them. She comes up with a terrible excuse for that. I mean, I'm pretty sure I just jumped ahead, but I can't help it. Drew is like, it's hard to watch. I'll put it that way. I mean, like, if you could reach through the screen and just like shake her, like, girl, wake up. What are you doing? I can't. Okay, so put a pin on Drew. We move on to Kandi and Todd. So they are walking, going for a walk. in the neighborhood, and they, addressing everything with the play. Um, she brings up that she actually would like for Todd to invite the men to come along on the trip. I think that was a great idea, especially for, for her. She's coming from a standpoint of it. When the guys come, the ladies tend to behave a little bit better, and things, we can get through some things a lot easier when the guys are there. Everyone's a little bit more tamed. I beg to differ, but we gonna keep it moving. They start discussing the Jersey home again. I mean, it's like, I'm like this with it because I do see what Kandi is talking about, where she's like, it's like he's pushing it on her, but I understand from his point of view as well, because he's like, okay, you're looking at it as, oh, this is a home that you had with your ex, and I don't want to, have no parts of that. But for him, he's looking at it from a point of view where it's like, okay, no, this could be an investment type deal. This could be a home for when we go to that area. It could be, something much more. But you're not even giving it a chance. You come see the place, come see what it's like, come get a feel for it, look around, see what we can do with it. This could be something that we can have as a unit. But Candy's just very stubborn with this particular subject with him. Moving on, because it started to get into a little awkward moment between the two, where you could tell that they kind of wanted to put a pin, like zip it, before the conversation went downhill, and they got to fighting amongst each other while them cameras was rolling. But okay, so they move into Ralph and Drew. They're about to do counseling. They said that they've had counseled with this person before, but it was virtual, so they feel like it's better to be face to face with the therapist. So she pretty much says that Ralph has been sleeping in Makai's room, their son. And she knows that when he does something like that, that means that they are really in a bad place. If he's not even wanting to sleep in the same bed with you, be in the same room with you, it is just not good. So they meet with the therapist. They bring up the topic of the dinner because that is what kind of led them into the little rut that they were in at that moment. This dude, he says, oh, with the way that she was reacting, or the way that the night went, he was like, I'm pretty much serving you steak and lobster, but you really deserved a Lunchable. I'm like, this dude right here sees stuff like that. I don't know how she deals with him, because the way that he speaks to her, I personally feel is just terrible. I don't know about that guy. I really don't. But now they also bring up that at that time they did bring up Dr. Ken, and then she told him like, oh yeah, well Dr. Ken, he said you're a maniac. So Dr. Ken, you can see it all over his face, where he's like, wait, hold on, because if you two are going at it with each other, what we're not gonna do is bring Dr. Ken into it. It's between y'all two. It's your marriage at the end of the day. So that is, I'm not accepting that. And he's basically pointing out between the two of them, they tear each other down. They attack each other, which we do see. I personally feel that it's between the two. On one end, you have Drew, because they could be in a good moment, and she will take that moment and turn it into a negative. She's ready to talk about everything that is bothering her, but it's like, okay, in that moment, live in that moment and accept that. But then also outside of those things, like not on a date that he's built this whole thing, he arranged for you to get your hair done, be dressed up all nice, he arranged this whole beautiful dinner, and you wanted to take that moment to start talking about y'all issues that y'all are having in your marriage. That wasn't the time. So I could see why he got frustrated at that particular time. So Let me see. So with all of that being said, the Dr. Ken gives them an assignment where they have to be nice to each other, or they can't attack each other or tear each other down, for 30 days. I honestly feel like that's definitely not going to happen. No, definitely not. They're not going to be able to make it. I would probably say, oh, who would I say between the two of them that's going to mess it up? I could say Drew. I would say Drew probably be the one to hit that off. She's gonna fail the assignment. I personally believe. But moving on. Okay, so let's see. They start going into the scene where we see some familiar faces come onto the screen. I believe it's Candy's cousin. I'm like blanking on that at the moment, but it was the cousin and his fiance. They're going around in barely wearing anything, going to all of the different ladies' houses, giving out bedroom by Candy gifts. Shameless plug from Candy. She always knows how to put her businesses all in the mix, all in the Housewives of Atlanta, right? I don't blame her for that. But I mean, if you came to my door with all of that on, I don't want to see that. So I definitely understood the ladies' reactions for the most part. It was like, okay, that's a bit much. So here comes Sheree and Kenya. They pretty much on the same page. Like, ma'am, we're getting ready to go on a New York trip for you about a play. So how about hold it with all the sex stuff and all of that. Let's talk about your play. Where's the information on that? Where's the promotion for that? Why are you sending us these things? And then here comes Marlo. Drew calls her and tells her about them coming to the door with all of that, barely wearing anything. Marlo gets to talking about, oh, I don't want to see none of that. I got, I have my own draws. And I'm like, okay, well, Marlo, we don't want to see your underwear either. And if I was Drew, honey, I would have hung up on you, because I don't need you to be all on my camera on the phone, FaceTime, and showing me your underwear. No, thank you. Now, Candy decided that she wanted to have everybody to meet up so that way she can make sure that everybody get to where they need to be in time for the show. Good idea, Candy. Everybody starts getting on the bus, and then here comes Kenya talking about, oh, I didn't know this was a couple's trip. It's like, Kenya, come on. This is an everybody trip. Now, she can't help it if some of y'all are married and some of y'all are not, or in the process of a divorce. I mean, she doesn't have any control over that. Like, chill. And then we get a little clip, Sheree saying it was a little bit awkward getting on the sprinter with them, with Ralph and Drew. Now, understand that, but she said if Drew come for her, Ralph too, she got the receipts already locked and loaded. So don't get her started. They finally make it to New York, so they take the sprinter, they catch the plane to get out that way. I thought that was really cool of Kandi and Todd to kind of make it a competition for somebody to get the second best room. As we know, Kandi's going to always aim to get the best room whenever they go somewhere. But it's her trip, so I know they got the penthouse. Now, they want everybody to go around and tell their most interesting sex stories or whatever, and I'm like, really? Here we go again, Kandi. I mean, but that's her thing, so we're gonna roll with it. So Marlo, I mean, that was so unbelievable. Kenya, I don't believe that story either about the whole coyotes, and that was the weirdest little thing I've ever heard. Ralph and Drew, y'all were that close to the whales. Y'all were at the beach, or were y'all in the ocean? And y'all were that close to the whales having sexual relations. I think that was a bit overload, but we gonna move on. In the end, Kenya ended up winning the room. So everybody just kind of laughed and was in good spirits about it. So it was no issues with the room assignments. Thank God. Now, as everybody's in their rooms, they're getting themselves together for later. Sanya, here I go again with her name, they're discussing Drew. She's discussing Drew with her husband, Ross. Just kind of bringing up some valid points at that particular time. I think she's starting to kind of, her gears are kind of going like, man, I don't know. I'm questioning Drew at this point because these are your friends. And if you have this assistant who's in the middle with the drama, bringing the drama, and you are sitting in that drama and not trying to make no changes, it's kind of making me wonder from her point of view, how messy of a person are you for real? Because I'm not trying to be in that mix. That's not her. So I definitely understood that you gotta question stuff like that. Now here we go with Marlo and Sheree again. She kind of throwing out there, about Todd doing something, when it's like, come on, y'all, we done did this before years ago. Here they go with that again. And so then they bring up talking about Kandi and her freakiness once again. We've watched season after season since Kandi has been on there. We know about all of that. It's no shock at this point. So I don't even know why they're acting like they don't get it. Now, if she's just doing the most, it is what it is. She's going to be her at the end of the day. Now, they're on the Sprinter. I believe they are on the way to the condo to go look at it. Ty wants Kandi to look at it, but he's kind of using that as a way to get everybody else to kind of talk her into really getting into it more. But while they're on the bus, they start talking about, Todd. He's bringing up the whole thing about him being second to Kandi and her brand and her name. But everybody's basically agreeing with Todd. I'm kind of a little conflicted on that because I like I said before, Todd, you knew what you were getting into when you got into a serious relationship with Kandi, and even more so when you married her and decided to start a family, grow businesses, and all of these things. She had a name before you, so she is used to having that spotlight on her, and maybe she can make a little changes here and there when it comes to things that he wants to do and he's excited about, but don't have it to where, or at least make it seem like she has to dim her light for you to shine. It should never be that. So that's why I say I'm kind of in between on that. I don't know, but I don't know, Ty. Tread lightly, sir, because she was making some faces that looked like she was gonna get you behind them cameras. So they get to the condo. They start looking around. I mean, like he said, he pretty much took over it, went on ahead and bought it out from the ex because they went in half and half on it. Like we all know just from looking at it, it definitely is a fixer-upper, but from what I saw, it could be a good little investment. I mean, not like obviously they don't need it, but he's more so of like, man, I'm trying to have, add some more stuff, just one more thing added to my portfolio. This ain't just mine. This is for my family. This is for our kids, for the future. So you don't want to just let that go. Understood him on that. Kandi pretty much still ain't feeling it. Like they said, she is stubborn to a degree. So we'll see what happens with this dang condo. I guess that's gonna be their thing this season. Is that part. All right, so the ladies pretty much just try to talk her into it, but she still ain't feeling it. She ain't with it. All right, so they move on to the dinner. And then they want to bring up the topic of wedding rings. Kandi didn't have hers on, and then Ty goes like this and he has his on. It's like, ooh, okay, well, she said she never really wore hers from the beginning. If he's cool with it, he ain't got no problem with it, not my business. Then they bring up Drew and Ralph. Ralph has his on. Drew didn't have hers on. Of course, here she comes with the excuses. When she was pregnant, or and all of this, or when they weren't getting along, she just never put it on. Production is so messy because they went back and they showed several clips after her being pregnant. Drew never wears her ring at all. She never does. So it's like, all right, your credibility, ma'am, we already looking at you sideways. Been doing that, but now I'm really doing it. Now here comes Kenya. They start, talking, but Kenya goes in and she pretty much says that Ralph is calls him an a-hole, because of the way he speaks to Drew. Now she really, really stepped in and was taking up for Drew in that part, and I thought that was really, really interesting. A different, and different coming from Kenya, in relation to Drew. They didn't used to get along at all. Kandi is still trying to drive it in Drew's brain, and also getting on Ralph too. Like, dude, you keep trying to come up with an excuse. It's not an excuse. You knew that what you were saying was out of pocket, and that it was gonna come off, wrong. And even with Drew, here comes Marlo. She's like, well, it ain't just Ralph. Drew is at fault too for accepting the BS, for allowing it. You can't really say too much about that, but Marlo too funny for her to be like, man, I just rather stay single. I understood what she was talking about too much, but at that point, Ralph, you can tell he starts to get a little bit uncomfortable, because he's in the hot seat. Him and Andrew, they both in the hot seat. He starts laughing. Kenya is getting frustrated because she's like, dude, no, this is some serious stuff right now. Like, really, the way you act, Kenya basically is having flashbacks, Mark flashbacks. And Drew is just like, dude, you might want to listen, because you see what happened between, if she's saying that you literally remind her of Mark, you see what happened with their relationship. She was like, and she let it be. She didn't even say nothing else after that. You see what happened with their relationship. Let me see. So then here comes Sheree. And Sheree, like I said, she was locked and loaded. She was ready. Because as soon as they started bringing up Sheree and how Drew was going in on Sheree with the information, again, Candy's like, okay, well, how are you getting so upset with Sheree with having information when it's the person, your assistant is the one who's in the middle starting the drama, bringing her the information, talking about your husband. So basically, Sheree, she shows the phone, and there you have it, a picture with Ralph taking a photo with a dude. Now, we don't know the context behind that photo. I'm not going to say anything related to that because I don't know. Of course, Ralph immediately just kind of like, man, okay, whatever, But like, they keep trying to tell him too, because I would have a problem. Like, as soon as we get back, we need to have a face to face with this assistant. I would have told Sheree, screenshot me what you have on your phone and please send it to me so we can get something situated. They cut the episode right there, but it's gonna be really interesting as this season rolls on. I'm really, really wanting to see what is gonna happen with this assistant. Drew and Ralph, I mean, Ralph, he doesn't help the situation, but Drew, you do have control over who you have around you. So I would love to see what happens with that. They're gonna still be in New York on this next thing, and then we're gonna see what happens with Sheree and Tyrone. I'm gonna hold off on commenting on that because I want to get the full information from what we see next week. And hopefully they do show next week. It falls on a Sunday, but Memorial Day is also Monday of next week. So hopefully they still show. I believe they are next week. So I'll be back. Please like, comment, subscribe. I do respond to the comments. So let me know your input, what you thought about the episode. I'll try to keep up on it. And we're going to see what happens with this season. Bye.